Tourist Man Black Africa. We are live and welcome. Feel free to join us. Feel free to watch this video to the end. So if you're joining this channel for the first time, this is Gachie's Skyman TV, the Tourist Man Black Africa. Here we discuss issues as they happen in our country. And today I want us to look at a number of issues because there's a lot of things to discuss. There are so many things to discuss. We have issues ranging from politics, ranging from our economy, and even the social aspect of our lives, and we cannot actually ignore. So a blessed Sunday. It is a bit calm, though it was actually hell at night because we have seen a lot of rain not witnessed in the recent past, and that is why you realize that a number of Kenyans are still asleep. They have not even woken up. Being a Sunday, there's always that sluggish Sunday morning, waking up, others rushing to go to the churches, others waking up maybe to catch a flight, and others maybe trying to do something. My sympathies go to those who are sick, those who are actually in camps. There are others who don't know where to go because of the raging floods. So ladies and gentlemen, feel free to join us. Those of you who are joining, please like the video, comment. Let me know where you're watching the video from. Let me know where you are. Maybe you can even comment in the comment section, because it is by actually joining this channel that we are able to discuss a number of issues. It is by coming here that we are able to share the state of our nation, because when you look at our country, there is so much that is happening, and that's why we are here, because we keep on talking. So for those of you who are joining, please like the video. Let me know where you're watching us from, and let me hope you are safe wherever you are. Let me know whether there are still floods wherever you are. Let me know if you need assistance such that we can raise the alarm. So I want us to discuss the UDA politics, because that is actually the hottest topic in Nairobi. But the issue here, I want us to look at the politics of Nairobi and why many people are very much interested with Nairobi. Why is Nairobi becoming the epicenter of Kenyan politics? Why is UDA? Why does our leaders want to control Nairobi? If you listen to Gachie, he feels that he must control Nairobi. If you look at Governor Sakaja, he looks like he's a man under siege. So before we continue, I want us to listen to Gachie's speech, and we see how people are interested in controlling Nairobi politics. Just listen. Gachie.
Sisi ni wakaaji wa Nairobi. Mimi kama Gachie deputy president, makazi yangu iko hapa Nairobi. Nilijenga boma langu mwaka wa 1993 hapo Lang'ata. Tumekaa hapo miaka yote. Biashara zangu zote siko hapa Nairobi. Majumba yangu ya kukodisha iko hapa Nairobi. Mimi ni stakeholder wa hii Nairobi. Na ndio tumeanza sasa kutaka kujua what is going in Nairobi. And I'm going to take keen interest of the political developments in this city. Kwa sababu Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. It is the seat of government. It is the business center of Eastern Central Africa. Mambo ya Nairobi, rais na mimi, lazima tuhakikishe inaendelea sawa sawa. Na kwa hivyo mtakuwa sasa mtaanza kutuona, we are going to take a keen interest in the welfare and the developments of this city and its leadership. Nairobi is too important to be left just like that. The president and I will take a keen interest in what is going on, so that tupanga in Nairobi to make sure Nairobi will restore the glory of the city in the sun. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba watu ya Nairobi wanapata huduma zile ambaye zinafanyikana. And we are going to do that not because we are voters here, but we are stakeholders here. We have homes here. Watoto wetu wamezaliwa kwa hii city, tumewalea hapa. Mali yetu yote iko kwa hii jiji. We are stakeholders of this city. Na mambo Nairobi kienda sawa sawa, even ourselves we are happy. Tukiona haendi sawa sawa, lazima tutafanya kazi ya kurekebisha. Kwa hivyo nobody should worry ama aulize ni nini. Why we have that interest is because we are stakeholders of this city, and it is the seat of government, the capital city of Kenya, and all of us are stakeholders in this Nairobi. Na kwa hivyo tutakuwa tukiendelea pamoja, tunang'ang'ana.
Hey, that is Rigathi Gachagua, the president, the deputy president.
To be truthful.
So guys, that is Rigathi Gachagua for you, the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, who is in the heat of things for the scrabble for Nairobi. And if you have listened to his speech, he is saying one thing, that Nairobi is too important to be left to some few people. And why do you think he is talking about this? Why do you think Nairobi is attracting the attention of our leaders? Why do you think there's a scrabble for the control of Nairobi? Number one, in my view, as Gachagua is saying, Nairobi is the heart of the government. That is why you have State House. That is why we have the office of the president, the headquarters, Harambee House. That is why we have the headquarters of all ministries. And that is the main reason. If you are not controlling Nairobi, then you are in danger. If you are the president and you have no control of the capital city, because Nairobi is the capital city of East and Central Africa, as Gachagua is saying. So when people see Nairobi going hivi mambo yanaenda hivi vibaya, the former city in the sun that is now city in the dustbin, city in the floods, when you see Gachagua talking about it, know that there is no way that these guys are going to let the governor mismanage the city as he's doing. So this speech by Rigathi Gachagua is also meant to show dissatisfaction with the leadership of Johnson Sakaja. Johnson Sakaja, if you look at him, he is a man under siege. He is a man who is not even allowed to contest for the Nairobi gubernatorial position come 2027. I don't think he will be a candidate. When you hear Gachagua talking that way, you see, he is even invoking the name of the president. That kuanzia sasa, mimi na William Samoei Ruto, mtakuwa mkituona hapa tukizungumzia mambo ya Nairobi. Because we cannot allow mambo ya Nairobi kuharibika. So when you look at the politics of Nairobi, the politics of Nairobi influence the neighboring counties. For example, Nairobi borders Kiambu County, and if it borders Nairobi, Kiambu County, and then also Kajiado on the other side, and Machakos, it tells you the politics of Nairobi are likely to influence the politics of the neighboring counties. For instance, if you look at the way Nairobi votes, Nairobi since 2002 has always, I think since 1997, since the time of multipartyism, has always stood with Raila Amolo Odinga. Nairobi near Raila Amolo Odinga. That is the truth, that is the fact, and that is the situation. So the fact that Raila is controlling Nairobi is something that is not sitting plenty with the government that is in power currently. If you look at Johnson Sakaja is saying that he is being fought for supporting or for working or cooperating with Raila Amolo Odinga. And when you look at what he's saying has a political angle, because when you look at Nairobi, when you look at the county assembly, you realize that the majority leader comes from ODM, Raila's party, and the minority leader comes from UDA, William Samoei Ruto's party. If you look at Johnson Sakaja has even gone ahead and appointed a minister from Raila Amolo Odinga's party. because he knows that without the support of ODM, he cannot survive. And this is something that Gachagua and the likes of Gachagua do not want to see. Hawataki kusikia hivi, because they feel that at the Sakaja, they are not getting what they want. They are not getting what they want. That is why they scrabble for the control of Nairobi. Again, people knows very well, Nairobi is going to shape the 2027 general elections. Remember very well, when Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta banned the counterfeit goods, pale Nyamakema, you remember when he banned the counterfeit, that is when things changed in Nairobi. That is when Kikuyus started complaining about Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And to punish Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, that is how they ended up supporting William Samoei Ruto. So if you look at Nairobi today, Nairobi is flooded with hawkers everywhere, from CBD all the way, Nyamakema, Gikoba, Moise Avenue, Tomboya Street, everywhere, Gala, hawkers everywhere. And when you look at it, the reason why hawkers are flooding in Nairobi, the reason why nobody is talking about it, the reason why they are not taken where they are supposed to be, because I think they should be designed, a place should be designated for them. The reason why this is not happening is because of politics. Because once you interfere with them, you lose the control of Nairobi. So for William Samoei Ruto and Gachagua to control Nairobi, they have to allow the hawkers. So that is why the city is in chaos. That is why the cities of Nairobi, that is why unaona hata maji yametapaka kila mahali, because of poor governance, because of poor leadership, because what we are seeing is something that should not be happening in Nairobi today. And if these guys were to be serious, karibuni Ameri, politics, sijui what, the junta class session morning, Mike Jones, good morning, karibuni guys, like the video, comment, let me know what you think about Nairobi, let me know what you think about Nairobi politics, because Nairobi is very, very important as far as the politics of this country is concerned. The other reason why Nairobi is very, very important in the politics of this country is because Nairobi is a business hub. In fact, more than a third of the country's GDP is derived from Nairobi. What of the so many industries in the industrial area? So many industries and factories in Nairobi, Kariobangi South, everywhere, Gikoba. This is where the government generates a lot of money. Hence the interest. Whoever controls Nairobi controls the politics of this country. And that is why Raila Amolo Odinga has managed to remain relevant for so many years. That is why Raila Amolo Odinga has managed to keep the government on its toes. Because most of the time, you realize that Raila is controlling Nairobi. Control Nairobi and you control the politics of this country. Control Nairobi and you have a big say in the government. That is why you cannot ignore Raila Amolo Odinga. That is why nobody can ignore Raila Amolo Odinga as far as politics is concerned. And if you look at UDA, UDA is struggling. In fact, struggling a lot to gain the foothold in Nairobi. And it looks like they are getting desperate. It looks like they are not getting it. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are joining this channel for the first time, this is Gachie Skyman. Here we discuss politics, we discuss our economy, we discuss so many things as they happen in our country. And we are usually very, very happy when you join us, because when you join us, we are able to come up with so many things. We are able to share the things that are happening in our country. We are able even to know where we are getting it wrong. We are able to tell the government where it is also getting it wrong. So when we tell you that they are getting it wrong in Nairobi, get it from me. And if you look at Gachagua has said that majority of our leaders owns palatial homes in Nairobi. Majority of our leaders have big homes, properties, rental premises in Nairobi. They have invested heavily. And that is why there is scrabble for Nairobi. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give something short here, because I think it is very, very necessary for you to listen to something. There's something I want you to listen. Nikamka kiasi tu kidogo tu. I want you to listen to what William Samoei Ruto was saying akiwa kule Zimbabwe, because when he tell you that mara nyingi we don't understand why the government, William Samoei Ruto, has to keep on moving from one country to the other all the time, despite talking about austerity measures. Tunaona akinunua majeti, na sasa we have also realized that he has managed to buy vehicles, state-of-the-art vehicles, magari ya thamani kubwa sana from all angles, and then we keep on asking ourselves, we are not seeing any development in this country. Hatuoni, sijui kama huko kwenu kuna kazi ambayo inaendelea, because when I look at our country, I ask myself so many things, because we have been talking about our country. We have been trying to say that things are not running in the right way, but some people still doubt. Some people still believe that nchi inaendelea vizuri. But from where I sit, I can tell you that this country is not headed in the right direction. So guys, I want you to listen to his speech, William Samoei Ruto's speech in Zimbabwe, because you see, William Samoei Ruto is very much interested with what is happening outside the country. So while in Zimbabwe, he was able to give a speech, and it is this speech, guys, I want you to listen. Listen to William Samoei Ruto's speech in Zimbabwe. Listen what he was saying in Zimbabwe, and then you tell me why he's not talking about this in Kenya today. Listen. William Ruto.
Our two countries have a deep understanding which underpins our mutual.
Listen to William Samoei Ruto's speech in Zimbabwe.
Our two countries have a deep understanding which underpins our mutual support over the years in diverse areas. Based on this, I wish to declare yet again Kenya's unreserved support for Zimbabwe's readmission to the Commonwealth. I also want to state, without fear of any contradiction and for the avoidance of any doubt, Kenya's support for African Union's call for the immediate lifting of the illegal sanctions against the Republic of Zimbabwe. "24 years of sanctions is unfair, unnecessary, and illegal. Those children born 24 years ago don't understand what this is all about. The women, people in rural areas, do not understand what this is all about. We say this not to be politically correct. We say it because it is the right thing to say. Kenya's commitment to the principle of sovereign equality of nations and states and a rules-based multilateral system makes no room for the contemplation or imposition of unilateral coercive measures, because we live in a world of equals.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that speech is by William Samoei Ruto in Zimbabwe, and I want us to look at three things. Number one is that William Samoei Ruto's passion for Pan-Africanism, to appear like he's the one who is actually leading Pan-Africanism in Africa, is very clear to all. Very clear. That he looks like he is the one who is leading Africa in terms of agitation for justice, agitation for rights, agitation for equality. That is why he is saying that Zimbabwe must be readmitted. Again, that is why he is saying that the economic sanction for 24 years that were given to Zimbabwe must be lifted. So he wants to look like he is the head of Pan-Africanism in Africa. He wants to appear like he's an African spokesperson. You see, Africa has so many presidents, more than 50. I think there are 54. But he's the only one talking about it. So where are the others? Number two, this speech is also meant to get the support of the Zimbabwean president come the voting time of the African Union Commission. And Raila won a vote here from Zimbabwe. So what does this mean? This means that William Samoei Ruto is so much determined to ensure that Raila Amolo Odinga is not in the ballot. He is so much determined to ensure that Raila Amolo Odinga wins the African Union chairperson position, because he fears that if Raila is on the ballot, William Samoei Ruto will go home. He knows very well. He understands very clearly that without Raila Amolo Odinga on the ballot, nobody can actually defeat him. And he strongly believes that if Raila Amolo Odinga is not in the ballot, some people who have been voting for Raila Amolo Odinga are likely to vote for him. And this one leads us to the next area of discussion, William Samoei Ruto's interest in the Luo nation. Because if you look at William Samoei Ruto is so much interested with the Luos. In fact, William Samoei Ruto is likely to bring development in Luo Nyanza more than in any other part of the country. Luos are likely to benefit from development. Because when you look at Luos politics is about development. Even when Raila Amolo Odinga was cooperating with Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, his idea was to get development, although he had other political ideas. When he also cooperated, agreed to form a coalition government with Mwai Kibaki after the contested election of 2007, where Krieger said you could not tell whether Kibaki or Raila won the election. The reason why he agreed is because of one, national unity, number two, development. Even when he decided to cooperate with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, it was because of development. And you agree with me, when there was a handshake, there was a lot of development in Luo Nyanza. So when you look at William Samoei Ruto now, William Samoei Ruto has what we call a soft handshake with Raila Amolo Odinga. That is the truth of the matter. This is a soft handshake from whatever angle you look at it. So when you look at William Samoei Ruto, he is now investing in Raila Amolo Odinga. He is investing, hoping to gain votes from Luo Nyanza. But the big question is, are Luos likely to vote for William Samoei Ruto? What do you think, guys? Do you think Luos will vote for William Samoei Ruto in 2027 if Raila will not be on the ballot? Because that is what William Samoei Ruto hopes to achieve. That is the reason why he is supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. That is why he is in Zimbabwe, because he's taking every opportunity to go to any African country, just to talk with the president of the host nation and convince him to support Raila Amolo Odinga. Remember now, Raila has the support of almost all countries of East Africa. Now Zimbabwe comes, and before maybe 2 or 3 weeks, he will have visited 2 other countries to convince them to support Raila Amolo Odinga. So the big question that Kenya should be asking, these are 2 political antagonists. These were competitors. These were leaders who are competing for the presidency. And we had a contested election. Then, the one who was declared the president, that is William Samoei Ruto, is now the chief campaigner of Raila Amolo Odinga to win the post of the African Union Commission. The question that Raila should ask himself, why me? Why this time? Why? You have to ask yourself many questions when you see your opponent supporting you. When you see your opponent, Charles Mosina, good morning Charles, karibu sana. When you see your opponent supporting you, then you should ask yourself a question. Because what I know, one thing is very clear, there is no way William Samoei Ruto can come out of the blues and start now supporting. Ati anaanza kumuga mkono Raila Amolo Odinga, anaanza kusema sijui nini Raila, and you see now, if you look at UDA, wote wamenyamaza. Hakuna hata mmoja ambaye amekuwa akimkashifu Raila Amolo Odinga. Hatuoni hata mmoja, wote wamenyamaza kama maji yaliyo ndani ya mtungi. Sio kwamba wameamua kunyamaza, sio kupenda kwao. And now wale watu ambao watakuwa na shida hapa ni viongozi kutoka sehemu za Mlima Kenya, kwa sababu viongozi wetu kutoka Mlima Kenya, for you to be elected, you know very well, inakubidi tu kusema Raila is a mad person. Inakubidi tu useme Raila ni muguruki, and just saying that na votes start coming your way. Inakubidi tu kusema jambo moja, kumkashifu Raila Amolo Odinga na kuonekana ya kwamba uko wewe ndio unampiga sana. And that is how Mount Kenya ended having very leaders who don't measure up to the standards. That is why you have leaders who don't talk in parliament. That is how Mount Kenya ended having leaders ambao hawezi kuganisha moja na moja wakapata bili. They are like that. Some of them do not even understand the standing orders in parliament. Some of them have never read the constitution. That is why you see some of them voting like voting machines of William Samoei Ruto. And now, after voting, that is when they realize that they have sold the soul and the minds and the hearts of their voters. If you look at Gachagua is now telling people that they have realized the 2023 finance bill had some mistakes, had some errors. But it's the same person who mobilized the people of Mount Kenya. And you remember what Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had warned them, that you have to be very, very careful when dealing with William Samoei Ruto. And you remember the way they came up and told us that chochote ambacho Raila anapiga ni kizuri. Mwag Muhammad, good morning. Green background. Asante sana. Karibu. Green is the color of our country, the color of our flag. So what we are saying here, that when you look at Raila's interest in UDA, in these elections of UDA, you realize that if I were Raila, I would do everything possible to infiltrate William Samoei Ruto's party. Like now in Luo Nyanza, what Raila should do is to get some Frederick guys, close friends, tell them to vie in UDA, support them. Then come 2027, let them be nominated and let them defect in the last minute. Politics is a game and you have to play it smart, because without that, you are likely to lose even in your backyard. And the fact that UDA started the elections, then the other should actually try to take advantage of this. Because what I know, when ODM elections come, William Samoei Ruto is likely to infiltrate ODM. He is also likely to plant some people very close to Raila Amolo Odinga. Waigie pale, but now, after being nominated to vie for the position, basi, they defect. They defect. Because politics, I've always said, is a game that you have to keep on looking what your opponent is doing. Kenyans today woke up to bad news that the county governments have sacked all the doctors. Doctors have been sacked. That is what we are getting. Many counties have given letters to the striking doctors, telling them to show cause why they should not be sacked. Others have received dismissal letters. This is illegal because already there is a case in court. And as far as I am concerned, this case inasema that the doctor should continue earning the salaries as we wait for the ruling, as the two parties come together. So is sacking the doctors the solution, if I may ask you guys? Is firing the doctors the solution? What does this tell you? This tells you that William Samoei Ruto is unable to continue with the negotiations. This one tells you that the government is not willing. The government is not ready to continue negotiating with the doctors. This one tells you that we are on our own. And now that they have fired the doctors, now the doctors have been sacked, what next? How is the government going to handle this crisis? Because most of these doctors are specialist doctors. For instance, I remember a friend of mine who was taken to Kenyatta Referral Hospital, KU, Kenyatta University Referral Hospital, with cases of kidney failure, high blood pressure, whatnot, and even diabetes. And the man could not be admitted. There was nobody to attend to him. So they had to look for somewhere, a private hospital, where he would be attended. Today, the man is admitted in a private hospital. So I'm wondering how many other people are in similar situation. And when you look at our doctors, their case is valid. Because you cannot tell them that there is no money when the president is buying new vehicles. Yale magari ambayo amenunua ni magari ya thamani kubwa sana. Magari ambayo yanaweza kufariji, kualisha maskini miaka na mikaka. You cannot tell Kenyans that there is no money when you are buying new jet for the president. You cannot convince the doctors. You cannot convince the doctors that there is no money when you had already signed a CBA, collective bargaining agreement. Now, why you are retracting this, why you are going against the same agreement, leaves a lot to be desired. So sacking the doctors is not the solution. And you see, leo ni mimi, kesho ni mtu mwingine. Leo ni wewe, kesho ni hawa wanasiasa ambao wanawafuta kazi madaktari wetu. And while this is happening, our members of parliament are just mum. Okay? While this is happening, we have rights bodies, human rights bodies. They're not talking about it. You know, one thing that Kenya should realize, as per our constitution, it is your right, inalienable right, to get good medical services, whether you have money or not. So when the government is unable to solve this crisis, the first thing that should happen is the CS Health, Susan Nakumicha, should go home. That is where we should start. Number two, if there is no solution, because the purpose of the government is to serve the people. You know, Kenyans are paying taxes. They are paying taxes. And the bad thing is that no goodwill is there on the part of the government. That is why this conversation is not going anywhere. The conversation, there is a stalemate as far as doctor strike is concerned, because the government doesn't have the goodwill. What they are saying, they have been saying things that don't add up. They have been threatening the doctors that they are going to fire them. And now they have fired them, according to what we are getting. And is this a solution? That is the question that we are asking. Imagine a mother ambaye anataka kujifungua, rush all the way to Pumwani, wakuga pale, wauguzi pale, madaktari, hakuna ambaye anapatikana. Wengine wanahitaji huduma za dharura, upasuaji. That is the only thing that can save you. But where are our doctors? For how long should this continue? Because from all angles, our health sector is in crisis. From all angles, there's a problem. We have a big problem, by the way. And, we cannot keep on talking about this. What is the solution? What is the solution if now you have sacked the doctors? Now, what is the way forward? Where are you going to get other doctors? What the government has been telling us is that there are so many doctors who are not employed. So many. But what I think, even if there are many doctors who are not employed, the number cannot exceed. The number is not enough for our hospitals. It's not enough. Huo ni ukweli, tuambie watu ukweli. And I'm looking at our country. While this is happening, while we are sacking the doctors, some villages have been submerged. Fully submerged in water because of floods. Because wherever you go, maji kila mahali. Nowhere to step on. Maji on the rooftop. Maji on the ground. Everywhere, maji. Vehicles submerging in water in rivers. So far, we have lost about 80 Kenyans. 80 Kenyans as a result of floods. As we talk. The funny thing is that while this is happening, UDA is very busy continuing the elections and supplying election materials using helicopters, using choppers to transport ballots, papers to people who have not eaten and you want them to vote. Yani wanaangalia pale ambapo useme kwa mfano kuna shule mahali ambapo uchaguzi labda unaendelea pale, but in that school we have internally displaced persons because of floods, and you are now telling them to vote for UDA. Can you see the irony of our government? Can you see the irony of our government, of our leaders? Can you see the hypocrisy of our leaders? Instead of supplying blankets, instead of supplying food stuff, medicine and the likes, they are supplying ballot papers. That is what I mean when I say that our leaders are very, very selfish. I've also told people, I've also said that if you ask me, it is not a very wise decision to open the schools tomorrow. It's not a very wise decision. Charles is asking, don't we have a budget set aside for disaster management? Yes, there's a lot of money. A lot of money. Every year, money is set aside for disasters, floods, earthquake, whatnot. But this money ends up in people's pockets. This money ends up in campaign. This money ends up in party elections, party nominations. That is the truth of the matter. That is the way our funds is managed. So I was saying about reopening of the schools. I'm imagining a 4-year-old kid going to a school flooded with water. Classrooms, maji kila mahali. Parade ground, maji kila mahali. Playing field, maji kila mahali. And then there are teachers there. In some cases, the desks are floating classrooms. Imagine desk tables, floating classrooms. Some places, some buildings have collapsed because of water. Others are submerged in water. And then we go ahead and say you open the school. The big question here is, which comes first? Which one should be given more priority? The health of the students, the life of the pupils, or education? Which one should come first? If they go to school and they contract diseases as a result of floods, with the floods comes so many things, comes outbreak of diseases, cholera outbreak, bilharzia, fever, so many things can happen. And including malaria, because of the standing water. That is how mosquitoes are likely to breed. So opening the school remains an unwise decision. Opening the schools at this time, I would differ very much with the government. Postponing the school even for a month will not do any harm. Will not do any harm. But you see, I've always said that mwenye nguvu mpishe. Na sasa hapa mwenye nguvu ni serikali. Wazazi hawana namna. But I think it is very, very important to be extra careful when we are taking students back to school. Like now, mvua imenyesha usiku kucha, the whole night, rain pounding us. Imeisha leo asubuhi. I'm imagining somebody who is traveling from far, and then you are telling that person anakuja shule, crossing rivers, bridges that they are underwater. And you see, these kids like playing with water. Ni ukweli, wanapenda sana kucheza na maji hapa na pale. And then you risk the school, you risk the life of students, you risk the life of teachers. It is not a wise decision. It is not. Nursery schools, imagine nursery schools, because they are also pupils and they are going to open. In nursery schools unapata wale watoto wanaenda pale ni wachaga sana, wako na miaka minne na unamwambia aende akacheze shuleni, because you see, you cannot keep the kids in classroom. Even if there no water, there's no water in the classroom, what about in the field? Kwa sababu from where I sit, no school has been spared. Kila shule utapata kuna mahali ambapo kuna maji. Some toilets zimejaa maji. Imagine some toilets, in schools, almost 99% of the schools wanatumia choo abavyo, vyoo abavyo ni vya kuchibua pale. So the water table is very high. Imagine the water table. Sasa utu uko wapi jameni? Are we serious? Are you even serious, by the way? Because sasa kama choo kimejaa maji na unabia watoto zaidi ya 1000 waende kile choo, and wakati mwingine vile vyoo kwa sababu ya maji kuja juu kabisa kuna hatari ya kubomoka. And I know there are some pitra trees ambavyo vimebomoka sasa. See the situation that our government is subjecting innocent kids and teachers, workers. See? In the name of the school calendar. What is a school calendar? By your standard. What's a school calendar? COVID came and go and left us here. And we continued our education. We continued. Because this is a crisis. Wakati vyoo vimejaa maji, choo kimejaa maji, mtoto wa chekechea nursery anaambiwa aende pale. In some schools you find the population of the students is very high. Some schools kuna watoto zaidi hata 2000. Some schools, by the way, have even police posts hapo. I don't think there is any school ambayo ina choo ambacho tuweza kusema ni kizuri. Haina. The level of water is very high in those pitra trains. Are you not exposing these kids to cholera? If there is an outbreak in that school, it is going to affect all of us. We can create a crisis, by the way. We can easily create a crisis na mambo haya about tunaona ni upuzi. Kwa sababu if you ask me, huu ni upuzi. Because when the pitra trains are full, they are full because of the levels of water. And anybody, any man, anaweza kuambia this is common sense, by the way. If you ask me, this is common sense. That the water levels are very high. in the pit latrines. And again, as they do this, they have not even sent money, the capitation money. I noted somewhere that some principals were complaining, pleading the government to send money for capitation to school. Imagine, wanasema shule zifunguliwe, hawajatuma pesa. Vyuo vimejaa maji, madarasa yamejaa maji, viwanja vimejaa maji, kila mahali ni maji. Mahali pengine, as the students or the pupils goes to school, they have to cross rivers and valleys. They have to cross bridges. Some students, some pupils wanaingia ndani ya maji kuvuka. Wanaingia ndani ya mto ndio wavuke waende shuleni. Can you see the madness? Can you see the madness in our school? Can you see the kind of government that we have? A government that just think about the school calendar, not about the life of the student, not about the welfare of the kids. Najua sasa, maji ni hatari kubwa sana. Maji ni hatari kubwa sana. Hatari kubwa sana. And what happens is that in those schools, you are now likely to find, because maji vile yamekuwa mengi, you are likely even to find dead frogs, dead snakes, dead rats. Unajua, because some of these rodents that live in holes, wakati maji yanakuja, unajua zinauawa na maji. Wale panya wanauawa na maji, wale vyura wanauawa na maji. So you find them floating in water, and then the kids wanaenda wanashika vile vyura, wale vyura wanawashika hivi, and then the same kids, because some schools there's no water, tap water that is, there's no clean water, ends up eating with unwashed hands. Unaona, Charles Mwina, we are on our own. Kenyans are so gullible. They will still vote for this government come 2027. I think Kenya should learn the lesson. Should learn the lesson, because you see, our government is a government that just thinks about itself. It's a government that just thinks of how it's going to win the next election. But now, when it comes to the welfare of the common mwananchi, that is where the debate ends. And I think William Samoei Ruto here needs the advice of some doctors. Let the experts, let the health officers go on the ground and tell the president the situation is not good for reopening the school. It is not good at all. And I'm challenging them to start with the pit latrines. How many are full? How many? And in many schools, the toilets, the pit latrines are even inadequate. You find one toilet being shared by 60 students. It becomes worse when the school is a girls' school. 60 students, sometimes 100, sharing one pit latrine. Alafu hiki choo kimejaa maji. Na unajua baadhi yao hata vile visodo baada ya kutumiwa vinatupwa mle ndani. And then when the water level comes, vinakuja na vinatolewa nje. See the kind of situation that we're exposing our kids. It is bad, it is unhealthy, it is unhygienic. It should be rejected. And it should be opposed. When our health officers goes on the ground, let them also look at the classrooms. Where are we taking our kids? Are we taking, because in most schools, you find the classrooms are not cemented. Ni floor, ni matope. Matope yamejaa kila mahali. Kila mahali. The only place that is exceptional is Kiharu. Kiharu mnakaa vizuri hapo mheshimiwa wenu amewafanyia kazi. Because you find the floors are tiled, the compound is neat, and it is healthy. In some situations it's healthy. But in some situations, vyoo vimebomoka, vinabomoka. How many times have we seen pit latrines collapsing in schools? Literally collapsing. Na sasa kwa sababu ya maji, I'm telling you, it is common sense that pit latrines zitabomoka na zingine zimebomoka. Some of them have been swallowed by the pits. Yani mawe yameingia kwa sababu zingine za mabati. Na tena kwa sababu ya hii mvua ambayo imenyesha sana. When you mix sasa water, sand and what, mababati yanapatwa na kutu, yanapatwa na kutu. And when this is happening, people are seeing ni kawaida tu, ni kawaida tu. Si kawaida. It is not normal. When it is not okay to send a 4-year-old kid to school at this time. It is not okay. It is not the right thing. It is not the right thing to open the schools tomorrow. Tomorrow, when floods are raging. It is not even human to let the students travel long distances, crossing rivers and valleys, going to school in the name of education. We don't want to belittle education, but education is not life. Education, a man does not live because of education. He go to school because he is living. And the reason why we go to school is to be educated, so that we can be able to adjust ourselves and fit in the environment. Like now, because we have gone to school, we are able to know how to avoid some of these things. I'm telling you, kuna watoto ambao watajipata katika hali baya sana. Ni jukumu la serikali na wazazi to ensure that, especially those who be crossing rivers, those who be crossing valleys, especially, in Muranga, for instance, if you go to Muranga, you find mudslide, and you see watoto wengine wanapada, wanakwea vile vijilima, wanatumia mikono. You can imagine them now sliding, kwa sababu wanajaribu kwenda. Wakifika shuleni, mtoto huwezi ukaangalia ukajua sare ni ya rangi gani, can't tell the color of the uniform because of the mud. And then they also be rained on as they go to school. Do you know some of these kids, some of these parents cannot even afford an umbrella? Imagine, they cannot afford an umbrella. And you see, in all parts of the country, it is raining from the morning, from 6 in the morning to 6 in the following morning. Now, sasa watoto, mtoto amenyeshewa akienda shuleni, rained on without an umbrella, amepitia kwenye matope, amefika shuleni. Look at it. I want to look at it. How many schools have ceilings? How many? Very few. So it means even the teacher will not be able to work because the rain will be pounding on the roof. Imagine, mvua inakunya, inanyesha, inagoga mabati, unasikia kama ni mawe. Alafu mwalimu anasimama pale mbele, anafunza watoto. Look at it. All logic dictates that it is not wise to open the schools tomorrow. Logic dictates that we wait until the weather improves. Logic dictates, common sense dictates, we postpone the opening of the school until the floods subsides. Until the raging floods subsides. We have met department that is telling us what we are staring at a disaster. These floods are disastrous. So exposing the kids and then forcing them to go to school, I'm telling you, the teachers will not be able to work properly because of the impounding rain hitting the roof. Kama ni shetani anagoga mawe, anagoga mabati. So even the learning environment is not conducive. Number 2, some classes are waterlogged. Number 3, the fields, hakuna mahali pa kuchezea. The other one, the distance that the scholars cover. They need to cross rivers. They need to cross valleys. They need to cross bridges. Some of these bridges are underwater. They are submerged. I'm also telling you about the Petra trains. They are full. They are collapsing. They are collapsing. Literally collapsing. Some have already collapsed. I'm also saying about the danger of exposing these kids. You are exposing them. And same that one kid. What is this? Submit that one, kid. So my air comment. What about it? Air comment nasema nini? I can't find it. But it is important that the government listen to an alternative voice, because we are here to give an alternative voice. We are here to give our opinion about the opening of the schools when we are actually staring at a disaster. Something else. Civil servants have declared the mother of all strikes, Francis Otwoli, who is the Secretary General of KOTU, has declared mother of all strikes. Reason? The government wants to employ civil servants, doctors, teachers, the military officers, policemen on contract. It wants to change the terms of employment from permanent and pensionable to contract. Is it going to work? Do you think this strike is going to succeed? Or do you think Francis Atwoli is serious when he's talking about mother of all strikes? We have also seen that intern teachers have also threatened to go on strike. They have said that they are not reporting to school tomorrow. Reason, according to the industrial and labor courts, the ruling is TSC cannot employ teachers on contractual terms. TSC cannot employ intern teachers. You either employ teachers or dismiss them, and they have to be employed on permanent and pensionable terms. So that is why the teachers, the intern teachers, are saying tomorrow they are not going to school. So you can see the problem now. Already the court has pronounced itself when it comes to employment. When you look now at the civil servant, when you look at the proposal by the government to employ teachers, to employ doctors, to employ civil servants, everybody who is employed by the government on contract, that is where the problem is. And if the civil servants goes on strike, this one is going to paralyze the nation. Just imagine that the doctors are on strike, and then the civil servants of Wete, intern teachers of Wete, then that is the time you lose this country. That is the time you lose this country. Because we cannot have a striking nation. Kibaki used to call Kenya, to rally Kenyans, and told them, this is a working nation. His rallying call was a working nation. But William Samoei Ruto looked like he is rallying a striking nation. A striking nation where the doctors are on the street. And by the way, you know, it's very embarrassing. I've always said this. It is very, very embarrassing to see doctors singing Mapambano, Mapambano, solidarity forever, solidarity forever. It is very, very embarrassing. Imagine to hear doctors. It is embarrassing for a country. It is embarrassing for our leaders. It is even embarrassing to the professional doctors. It is embarrassing. Imagine now when you tell a kid, go study, go to school, learn, work very hard, become a doctor. Then the kid will look at you and wonder, are these the same doctors that we see on the street every day? So this strike is killing a generation. If civil servants are going to join this strike, I can tell you, William Samoei Ruto problem will start that day. Problems will start that day. Because even in State House, hutapata mtu wa kufagia. Nobody is going to work if this one will be implemented. And if Atwoli goes by his word, because he's warning the government, and he is pleading with William Samoei Ruto to ignore Moses Kuria, the public service CS, ati yeye ndiye ambaye anasema vile, at just a minute, guys. Take some water. Just a minute. So what we are saying here, guys, sorry for that, to switch off the lights. So what we are saying here, guys, is that if the civil servants goes on strike, as they are threatening, that will be the beginning of this problem. This is the beginning of the problems for William Samoei Ruto. Unajua, people have been talking about so many things, but when you see now people coming out to agitate for their rights, what is left, by the way? What is left? Yes, we know we have so many people who are not employed. Yes, we know we have so many people who are not working, and the government cannot employ them. We don't deny that. But who is this person who will accept to be employed on contracts? Where does this happen, by the way? Is there any other country that employs civil servants on contracts? So I think William Samoei Ruto should be advised by his advisors to withdraw this. Because if he doesn't withdraw, if he doesn't shelf this idea, it is going to destroy his presidency. One thing about William Samoei Ruto is that he's very busy destroying his second term, his chances of second term. Very busy. Most of the things that he do, although mara nyingi utasikia akisema he doesn't want to do the things that is popular with the masses, but the right thing. But is employing workers on contract the right thing? Is it the right thing? Surely. So when you look at William Samoei Ruto, you see, ni kama vile tunasema nguruwe hujikaga kwa mafuta yake mwenyewe. And Haron is saying, when the gods want to destroy you, they first make you mad. It is true. And you see, you destroy yourself. Ni kama dinosaur ambao wanasemekana kuwa walikuwa wanajikula wao wenyewe. Because what he is doing, everything from taxation, punitive taxes. So I was recent from some farmers complaining and crying that they are now being forced to register so that they can be paying taxes. Do you think this kind of farmers can vote for William Samoei Ruto? Never. Look at the civil servants. The fact that that thing has come to the limelight, even if it is not going to be implemented, Kenyans will know if William Samoei Ruto wins the second term, he's likely to implement that. So do you think civil servants are going to support William Samoei Ruto? Do you think they can vote for him? Zero. Look at the hustlers. Neno ambalo siku hizi kulitaja hata watu wanaona aibu. Baadaye watu wanaona aibu kuitwa hustler, sawa kujiita hustler. Jua hapo beleni, najua watu walikuwa wanajitanua kifua. Mimi ni hustler mwenyewe. And William Samoei Ruto was the king of hustlers. Today, mentioning that name, calling somebody a hustler, looks like an insult. Calling somebody a hustler is something that many people don't want to hear. It's something that many people don't want to be mentioned. Again, when I look at everything, I realize that as long as William Samoei Ruto is destroying his legacy, on the opposition side, there's a weakness. I think there's a weakness. Since Raila Amolo Odinga declared his interest on that position of the chairman of African Union position, that commission, African Union Commission, since that time, the opposition looks like they are disorganized. Our brothers seems not to be working towards achieving that goal. And you see, the goal is winning the presidency. When I look at the opposition needs to unite. The opposition needs to come together. The opposition needs to identify a candidate, presidential candidate at this time. If you ask me, Azimio should be having a candidate by now. Azimio should be having If it is Kalonzo Musyoka, let us know it is Kalonzo Musyoka. If it is Mother Karua, let us know if it is Mother Karua. If it is Fred Okengo Matiang'i, let us be told it is Fred Okengo Matiang'i. If it is Wajakoya, let us know. Whoever the candidate is. Because you see, already, the government side candidate is known. It is William Samoei Ruto. Hata ukiuliza mwenda wazimu, atakwambia William Samoei Ruto is going to vie for the presidency. On Azimio side, ni Kalonzo tu amekuwa akisema. But what about the other leaders? They seem not to be agreeing with this. Look like there's no agreement. Who will be the presidential candidate? There's no time, by the way. You know, what when I say, some people, I've been sharing this idea with some of my friends, why Azimio should have a presidential candidate by now. Some people are saying, ni mapema sana, sijui huyu mtu atanuliwa na William Samoei Ruto, sijui nini. But ni vizuri watu kujipanga mapema. Ni vizuri kuwa na mwelekeo. Just as long as William Samoei Ruto is destroying his chances every day, and I've told you through taxes, through this idea of employing people on contract, through so many things that he's doing, this is something that Azimio should take advantage of. Let them take advantage. Yani wanafaa wachukue, kwa sababu hapa kuna uwezekano ya kwamba ikiwa Raila atakuwa katika uchaguzi, Raila atafanya campaign is not even important. Just need to declare that to be on the ballot. And he'll win in the morning. But for others, I strongly believe they need to work. They need to work and work as a team. For the others, I strongly believe that William Samoei Ruto is not a weak candidate for them. He might be a weak candidate to Raila Amolo Odinga, but he is not weak to Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. They need to come up. And now this is where now Peter Kenneth comes in. Peter Kenneth, for those of you who have been watching the politics of this country, of late we have seen Peter Kenneth coming out, talking about weight issues, talking about doctor strikes, talking about floods, amejitokeza. And this is unlike Peter Kenneth. Peter Kenneth is known to hibernate immediately after elections. Anajificha. Then the last few minutes to elections, anajitokeza. Like in the last general elections, he was touted as Raila Amolo Odinga's running mate. Lakini immediately that did not happen, hatukumwona tena, kapotea. So are we seeing Peter Kenneth as a possible alternative Mount Kenya kingpin? Are we seeing Peter Kenneth as a possible presidential candidate? And is the country ready for another Kikuyu president? That's the big question. Do you think Peter Kenneth is likely to make an impact? Because from where I sit, there's a huge vacuum in Mount Kenya. Since Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta left the presidency, in Mount Kenya, we have a vacuum. Tuna pego kubwa sana. Na hapa ndipo tunaona Peter Kenneth anafaa kukuja na kujaza lile pego. Because in politics, there should be no vacuum. Politics does not allow any vacuum. But that vacuum, Rigathi Gachagua has been struggling to fill that vacuum, but he has not managed. Dede Nyoro have been competing with Rigathi Gachagua to fill that vacuum, but he has not managed. Huyu mtu CS wa public service, Moses Kuria, has also been struggling to be the kingpin of the mountain. He has not managed. So Peter Kenneth is now emerging as a person who can easily take up the mantle, because Maina Jega alikuwa pale, a good man from Agos, but Maina Jega refused or failed to utilize a chance. No, he had all the chance. I remember last year, anytime Maina Jega would come anywhere, because people are looking for a leader in Mount Kenya. People would come out in large numbers. And I remember when we were crossing the year 2023, 2024, I remember he had called a meeting in Nyeri where all the Kikuyu men were supposed to go there, attend, and maybe pray together, sing together, but it never happened. So Maina Jega seems to have lost that chance. Again, Maina Jega, when you look at his political activities, most of these days utapata haongei sana, ameamua kunyamaza. So is Peter Kenneth the man to fill that vacuum? If you look at the history of Peter Kenneth is the former Gataga member of parliament. And he was rated the best member of parliament when CDF started. Na ukiuliza watu wa Gataga kama mko hapa, labda mnaweza kutuambia how is Peter Kenneth? Kwa sababu ukienda pale tulikuwa tunaona barabara ambazo zilikuwa zinawekwa mara na Peter Kenneth. Most roads in Gataga are passable from all angles, and the credit goes to Peter Kenneth. Abaye ukienda kule mashinani utasikia wanamuita mzungu because of the color of his skin. Wanamuita mzungu. But when you look at Peter Kenneth, when you look at him from all angles, who is also a very close friend of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, a very close friend of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, I think he is getting advice from Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I think he is being sent to come and become the shepherd of the mountain. And the big question is he going to succeed? The big question is, will he be accepted as Mount Kenya kingpin? Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I strongly believe that Peter Kenneth would make a very good running mate for Azimio. Very good running mate. He can make a very good running mate of Raila Amolo Odinga. He can make a very good running mate of Sivika Musyoka. He can make a very good running mate of whoever will be nominated by Azimio as the presidential candidate. What I know is that if Martha Karua becomes the presidential candidate of Azimio, Peter Kenneth cannot be a running mate because you cannot have two Kikuyus. One as the president, the other as a deputy. That one cannot happen. It will be a sure bet of losing an election. So what we are saying here is that the point here is Azimio needs to put its house in order. Azimio needs to tell us that this is our candidate. Azimio needs to come this early and show others the way. But when you look at it, it look like hakuna kitu ambacho kinaendelea pale. Then there's this issue of impeaching Mithika Linturi by 110 members of parliament. This is good. This is good news. Because 110 members of parliament, and those are the ones who have signed that we want this man to go. If you ask me, that one is good. That is good if you ask me. Because this man presided over fake fertilizers, distribution and sales of fake fertilizers. This man, the CS, Mithika Linturi, should have resigned like yesterday. Should have resigned. He need to take responsibility. He was there wakati ambapo watu walikuwa wanauziwa mawe, wakati watu walikuwa wanauziwa kinyesi cha puda, wakati watu walikuwa wanauziwa kinyesi cha wanyama wa porini kimechanganywa na mawe. Again, we have also had complaints about fake seeds. People complaining, farmers complaining that you are selling fake seeds to us. You have been selling fake fertilizers to us. So this man does not need to be in office. If you ask me, the issue of fake fertilizer should be taken as an issue of national security. You cannot endanger the lives of our country. Millions and millions, more than 50 million Kenyans. You are risking the lives of such a huge number of Kenyans. in the name of fake fertilizer. You are risking too much. Imagine, what a loss for the country. What a loss. But even William Samoei Ruto, he also needs to crack the whip. And what a good time for William Samoei Ruto to reshuffle his cabinet. Do away with Moses Kuria. Do away with Nakomicha. Do away with Mithika Nturi. Or even fire the whole cabinet. William Samoei Ruto need to fire the whole cabinet. Because you see, when you see now, he should take this advantage because he has the backing of many leaders. That is what Kenyans want. Fire the whole cabinet. Start afresh. Try to salvage your legacy. Mr. President, things are not good. When you have Mithika Nturi still in office and you are the appointing authority, the buck stops with the president. When things don't work in the government, when, we know, na tunajua vizuri sana, rais hawezi kuwa kila mahali, we agree. But when the government succeeds, it is William Samoei Ruto who will receive the credit. When the government fails, again, it is William Samoei Ruto who will be blamed. The buck stops at his table. The buck must stop somewhere. All said and done, having Mithika Nturi in office almost 2 months after people started complaining about fake fertilizer, I think it's an insult to Kenyans. And why should these guys not resign? Why? Why should somebody remain in office when everybody is complaining? Why should somebody remain in office when hata watoto wanajua about fake fertilizers? That is a big question. So William Samoei, if he doesn't take the whip, amcharaze Mithika Nturi, then tujue hapa and because you see watu wanauliza maswali kadha wa kadha. So la kwanza, why is William Samoei Ruto not cracking the whip? Does he know these guys who are selling fake fertilizer? These are the questions that I imagine. Are these people in government? Are they the friends of the president? Who are they? Who are they? How influential are they? Because fake fertilizer did not come from the blue. Something which is very, very serious, and this one should be taken very, very seriously. We have seen a lot of altercation between the military and the police. Clashing, imagine. Like yesterday in Likoni. It was not something good. The drama that we are seeing between the military officers, servicemen especially, and policemen who are supposed to be implementing the law to ensure that there is law and order, it is something that is worth talking about. It is something that calls for an urgent meeting between Duale and Kidiki need to meet. Because KDF, if you remember, KDF soldiers, there was a time they stormed a police station to rescue 4 soldiers who were arrested. Where are we headed to? And if you ask yourself, how do KDF guys leave the camps with guns? How? Are they not going to secure a place? Are they allowed to leave the military barracks with the guns? I don't know. And why not let the police implement the law? Because they're the one who are supposed to maintain law and order. Why not use the right channel, if you ask me? And if this thing is going to escalate, it is likely to be very bloody. Bloody. And should not be allowed to continue. A fight between the military and the policemen is dangerous for the country. A fight between 2 security agencies. And you see, going to a police station to rescue, and they did it, is something that should not happen. The drama that we saw yesterday, the military and the police clashing in the corner, is something that should be discouraged at all costs. If these things continue, Charles, things are elephant. The whole cabinet is a mess. We elected incompetency. That is true. So my point here is about the military guys clashing with the police. It is something that should be stopped. And I blame the two CSs. That is why I'm saying William Samoei Ruto needs to fire the whole cabinet. How does military guys, how does military guys and policemen clash? Where does it start? What does this mean for the country? Kwa sababu what will happen, wataanza wao wenyewe. Wanaanza wachache, kwa sababu you see the policemen pale was in Lodwa ama kulikuwa wapi wakati polisi walikuwa wamewatia baroni maafisa wa jeshi 4, and then the soldiers stormed the police station to rescue their own. What if it is the president who had given the orders? Well, the president can say, go and arrest this person, although he has no mandate, but tunajua mambo mengi yanaweza yakafanyika. So that is why I'm saying, hii serikali kuna mambo ambayo yanafaa kuangaliwa jameni. Kuna mambo ambayo yanafaa kuangaliwa. Unajua, moto mkubwa ambao unaanza kwa cheche dogo tu. Cheche inazuka, inakuwa kubwa. Moto unawaka, unazidi kuwaka. Kisha, before you know what is happening, the whole field is on fire. So let us see the end of this altercation between the policemen and our military. You know, we respect our military officers. We respect them so much. They have always been professional. Very good guys. Down to earth. Just like the late CDF. Down to earth. You will not even say that they can hurt a housefly, leave alone a human being. But now what we are seeing, the last 2 incidents have left Kenyans with many questions. Those 2 incidents where the military and the policemen are fighting, where the military are rescuing their own from a police station who is under legal custody, is something that needs to be investigated. I think what should happen is that the military guys need to be convinced why they can be arrested by the policemen. Because it's within the law, by the way. If they break the law, nobody is above the law in Kenya. Nobody, including the president. Nobody is above the law. If you read the BBI ruling, judgment by the Supreme Court, you realize that the president is not above the law. That is a misconception. That is something that Kenya tumekuwa tukisema tukifikiria kwamba that the president is above the law, but the president is not above the law. The military is not above the law. I'm not saying that the military guys are guilty because investigations have not been carried out. I'm not saying also the policemen are guilty. What I'm saying is that this fighting between the military and the policemen is bad for this country. This fight between the military and the policemen is bad image, creates a poor image for our country. It is unprofessional. It does not depict our military. Wakati niliona jambo hili, kwanza nilikuwa najiuliza, is this the guys that I know? Are these the guys that I know? Guys that we respect so much. Guys who are respected worldwide. And what is this that could lead mpaka the military guys are being arrested? Why? What is this? What is the bad blood for? could it be something beyond something that unajua tunaweza kuwa tunaona tu dalili, kumbe kuna mambo mengine ambayo deeper than what we think. So let it be stopped. Let Duale, who is in charge of defense, CS defense, and interior CS, Kithure Kindiki, let them have a meeting and solve their differences. Let us not see the policemen and the military again. It is bad for this country. It can burn this nation. It can burn. Remember, these are two feared and armed groups of people. We can lose it, by the way, because what will happen if the trend continue, utaona watu wengine wanaanza kuga mkono polisi. Polisi wanazidi kukasirika, wengine wanaanza kuga mkono the military. And before Kenyans know what is happening, we shall have lost this nation. And that is why I'm saying William Samoei Ruto urgently need to do away with the cabinet secretaries, all of them. Fire them, Mr. President. Start with Rituri. Fire him. He is an embarrassment to the farmers. Fire Nakumicha. Also an embarrassment. The doctors are on the street. Fire Susan Nakumicha because of incompetence. We have seen her. And if you ask me, Susan Nakumicha, that job is too much for her. We have people who can work better than Susan Nakumicha. She can be a very good an office lady. She can be a very good office lady. Very good. But that post, that position is too senior for her. It's too complicated. The issues of health, the issues of doctors are too complicated for Susan Nakumicha. Fire her. Stop her from continuing with her duty. Fire her on basis of incompetence. Fire her on the basis of doctor strike. Why should she continue being in office? From there, I'm telling you, Mr. President, if you can, and I know you listen, because the backs will stop with you, and because you are elected in office, and you have a legacy to defend, and you have people who are looking at you to see, you have doctors on the street on one hand, we have people crying, the patient crying on the street. Others, because of lands, they need medication. There are no drugs in hospitals. There are no doctors in hospital. Fire these people. So that we have enough ground to even shuffle the whole cabinet. Then go to Mithika Nturi, presiding over fake fertilizers and refusing to resign. Because these leaders, because these CS cannot resign, force them to resign. Like Kibaki did. I remember, Kibaki forced Kemunya Amos, the former Kipipiri member of parliament, a very close ally of Kibaki. And Kibaki one time listened to Kemunya talking in Kipipiri. Nakwambia Kemunya wa Kipipiri aliona pilipili kali, alionja pilipili kali kule Kipipiri. Because alikuwa anasema, I better die than resign. I think there was the issue of, is it the Grand Regency? Yeah, the issue of the Grand Regency. Because I think he was the finance CS. I better die than resign. Then Kibaki watched as his minister declared that he was ready to die than resign. Called him in the office. Mr. Finance Minister, come here. Yesterday you said you better die than resign. But people are begging for your blood. People are saying you must resign. People are saying you must take responsibility. The following morning, good news was that Amos Kemunya, the finance minister, member of parliament for Kipipiri, resigned. That is what a leader should do. And that is what Kenyans are asking for. I also remember Saitoti George. There was a time he was forced to resign. George Saitoti, of all people, was forced to resign. And you know, George Saitoti was in charge of interior, the security docket. But Kibaki forced him to resign for the sake of this country. Because a time comes when the interest of the nation supersedes the interest of the individual. The interest of patients who are voters, who are Kenyans, supersedes the interest of Susan Nakomicha. The interest supersedes even the interest of the president. This is our country. If you read the Constitution, all power, preamble, and I want to thank the framers of our Constitution because they gave us the best Constitution. If you read the preamble, I usually have the Constitution here. I normally have the Constitution. I would have read for you. All power belong to the people. And those who exercise the powers do it on delegated. The powers have been delegated to them. So when the president refused to fire Susan Nakomicha because of gross incompetence, the president is failing the people. Because once he fires Susan Nakomicha, it is the people who will have fired Susan. We want to see doctors back in the hospital. We want to see doctors treating cancer patients. Some are going for chemotherapy. Others need dialysis. Others need surgeon doctors. People are crying. People have nowhere to go. Doctors cannot treat people when they are on the streets. And I repeat, it is embarrassing for this country. Anybody who sees the image of doctors on the street anajiuliza hii ni nchi aina gani jameni? Hususan wazungu wakati ambapo wanaona madaktari. Unajua madaktari ni mtu wa kuheshimiwa. Mtu amesoma miaka 6. And if you look at our doctors, majority of them scored grade A. Grade A. That is why all of us could not become doctors. Lakini wakati ulikuwa nasoma, ukiuliza mtu unataka kuwa nini? Daktari. So you are even killing this good profession. You are killing the good profession. So why should we have Susan Nakomicha in office at this time, at this hour? Mithika Nturi, again, still in office, not taking responsibility. When Kenyans have incurred huge losses, when Kenya is an agricultural country, no, Kenya is an agricultural country. In fact, Mithika Nturi should be prosecuted. He should be prosecuted because of negligence. Why did farmers buy fake fertilizers? Where were you? Why are you risking the food situation of our country? Why do you want to make Kenya to continue begging food when we have able farmers? When farmers wamejitolea kulima mahindi, kulima boga, kufanya nini? Why? Why are you presiding over sale of fake fertilizers? These are the questions that William Samoei Ruto need to ask his CSs. Then he should go to Duale and Mithika and Kidiki and ask them, call them in a meeting, tell them, why are the military, the policemen fighting? Has it even ever happened in Kenya again? What are you telling us? Where are you where they were fighting? Where? What are you telling us? Are you telling us that we have lost it? Because you see, when the military and the policemen start fighting, this is planting the seed of anarchy. This is the seed of disunity. Because I strongly believe that in a democracy, in a country like Kenya that follows rule, laws, and order, because Kenya is not a banana republic, it's a country of rules, a country of laws. Things need to be done in the right way. People need to come together. The law must be followed. So, you can see William Samoei Ruto has enough ground to fire his whole cabinet. Appoint people of integrity. If I were William Samoei Ruto, I would fire the whole cabinet and come up with people who are known. I would go for somebody like Matiang'i, make him a minister. I would not even care whether vile tulikuwa tunaongea na yeye. Mnamwambia yeye fanya kazi. Wewe ni mtu wa kuchapa kazi. I know you are no nonsense guy. At Patrick Onyango, when you point figures to Ruto appointments, it's like packing figures in Ruto's eye. So what we are saying here, the cabinet is incompetent. That is the truth of the matter. The cabinet that is helping William Samoei Ruto is not delivering. That is the point we are driving home. So what William Samoei Ruto needs to do is to fire the whole cabinet, come up with the people about wachapa kazi. Wachape kazi kabisa. People who are going to transform this nation. And Kenya is not short of good people. Go for somebody like John Githogo. Najua John Githogo, ambaye when Kibaki came, Kibaki made him in charge of integrity, I think governance. And he's the one who exposed the agrolisting. And according to him, he was written, he ran away. He had to seek asylum, I think in America, because whatever he exposed very senior guys who were in government, who were in the cabinet. Go for this kind of guys and nakuwe goodwill. Go for them. You can also go for Mother Karua. People like Mother Karua, if they can accept to work with you, there's no problem. Go hata kama utaendea Wayahudi ama Wazungu ama Chinese, as long as they are going to deliver. Because the current team seems to be clueless. The current team, some of them look like they are corrupt. Kwa sababu wakati baadhi ya mambo yanatokea, tunafaa kujiuliza maswali mengi. So guys, this is our country, as I've always told you. We have no other country. We must point out the mistake, hoping that the powers that be are going to watch this channel. They are going to listen and maybe rectify where it is necessary. It is our responsibility to stand with the country. It is our duty to defend our country. It is our duty to make our country better every day. It is our duty to give a critical view of our leaders with the intention of making them better every day. And we should not mince a word. However, it is equally important for Kenyans to know that if they don't speak, if they don't talk, we can easily lose our beautiful country. We can lose our beautiful country. If the people who are in second liberation did not come to defend our country and point out the mistakes, we could have lost it. I want to thank you guys for the way you have always continued this channel. I've told you please to like or always like the video. You can also click the join button, become a member of this junta. It was Uhuru Kenyatta's Asram. It's okay. Patrick Onyago, karibu sana. Santi, Charles Musina, thank you very much for always coming. Harun, thank you. Mike John, can't forget you. Same, I thank you very much for always being here for us. I cannot take it for granted. That Mwage Muhammad, thank you. Charles again. Mkowegi akina junta. And I'm very, very happy for the way you have continued to support us. We shall be live today at around 8 p.m. Stay tuned, because ours is just to analyze the news as they happen, especially in our beautiful country. Have a blessed Sunday, guys. Bye.